Hi everyone. Welcome back to A Sky Full of Stars, Hikari's Route, Episode 2. And in short, things are not starting out well for Akito and Hikari. The fact that Hikari tensed up and she went like, well, I'll pretend that the confession never happened. And it's like she's trying to avoid dealing with Akito. So in episode 1, Hikari was wondering how much progress he has made with Saya, and she kept emphasizing about how Akito and Saya are perfect together. And at one point, as Komako, she was asking Akito these questions, and Akito never answered. And when Hikari pushed Akito to answer, he reveals that, well, I like Hikari, you better than Saya. And that's what kind of started everything. And Hikari just could not respond. And I think she still feels that, well, I think it's better if Akito goes with Saya. And she just can't get that out of her mind. So we'll see how it goes from here. And what they're going to do, as in anybody, to help bridge this relationship that's not starting out very well. So Hinami's like, so welcome back, Bucho or President. Nowhere. So as soon as I entered the room, Hikari slipped behind Saya to get away from me. Okay, so she's still trying to hide. So, nothing. She had all her guards up. And after being confessed to and having to counter my attacks so many times, she looks more wary than a stray cat on the street. So my confession today had been my 4th. So he's tried several times, and I think it's making it worse. So the second time hasn't been so good. Okay, so on the bus, I could hear the music coming from Hikari's earphones. So she had even had her eyes closed as if saying, well, don't bother me, I listen to my music. Hey, Hikari, so your music is loud, I can't hear it. So, hey, don't bother me. So you should probably turn down your music. It's like, well, your eardrums might blow if you play it this loud. So I pulled one side out and leaned over to whisper into her ear. Okay, so I'm going to make her listen. And I wonder what music Hikari's listening to, because I can hear it, but it's hard to decipher. Okay, and at the wrong time he tells her, I like you. So hey, this is the wrong time. And the third one might have been worse. So what happens now? So while Hikari's tending to Kotarou, oh, there she is. So, come on, go do your thing, Kotarou. Okay. So I think having Kotarou distract Hikari is, well, I'm sure Hikari can sense that something isn't right. Yeah, says Kotarou. So what's wrong? Hey, you're back. So how did it go, buddy? I unfolded the piece of paper Kotarou had in his mouth. I hate you. Okay, so I think what happened was that Akito had Kotarou deliver a love note to Hikari, and when Hikari saw it, she obviously knows that it's Akito's writing, and she writes back with a really hateful message. It's like, okay, Kotarou, give this back to him. So I took every chance I could to find and try a few different methods, but Hikari just shut them all down. And aside from my complete failures at winning over Hikari, however, Project Starlight is proceeding smoothly. So Saya waved me over to take a look at her laptop. Ooh, wow! So on the screen was this brand new Project Starlight homepage. And we directed to set up a special homepage to generate the outside interest and help spread this word. So it had a synopsis of the event, description of what the Six Stars Club is doing, and introductions from all of our members. So everyone is agreed that she had done a good job, and the design really is great. So Sai had made it after all. And after discussing website ideas with Honoka and the other people, she had made a decision. So get pictures from Toyota and ask Seisen for some drawings. And I wonder what the Nishihai guy or the Morimisawa guy has to contribute. So she got input from everyone and turned it into a great looking website. So Saya had always been good at drawing pictures, so she had a knack for this kind of thing. So once we announced Project Starlight to be public, there would be no turning back. And the site even had a timeline of club activities. So each school was going to hand out flyers in their individual areas, and by inviting the general public, we were planning for a considerable large event. So it really does look great, Saya, so it looks like a professional could have made it. But anyways, nice pictures. So Hikari is right. So people's confidence in our abilities would depend on how well our site is put together. And it was like the way words can be taken so differently when spoken by different people. So it didn't really feel fair, but I suppose if you're trying to forget someone's attention, you have to put the extra effort to do it right. Okay, so it looks like I have more work to do at my school. So apparently she had to go help with the comic again today. So it's still a bit early, but should we call it a day? So there's nothing else we need to get done today anyways. Okay. So when she heard the name of the shop, Hikari just glances my way.
今日私も用事あるし、さっさと帰るわ。
Well, pass.
ああ、もう行かないと。じゃあね、さや、ひなみちゃん。それからそこのバカ野郎。
So Hikari was taking, let's see, a mile a minute as she threw her things in her bag and raced out the door. It's like, I'll see you later. And I'm sure that's enough for Hinami and Sai to pick up. It's like, wait, something isn't right.
うん、またね。
Okay, so now it's Saturday.
むつら星の会です。プロジェクトスターライトにご協力をお願いします。ご協力お願いします。
So why is everybody at the Stop By convenience store? Wouldn't it be better if they spread out? It was early afternoon on our day off, and the voices of our group rang out in front of the Mikazuki station. Okay, so the guy from Morimisowa is Kawana Kajima. Come on, you need to be more enthusiastic. So our website is live, and our PR preparations were complete, so we moved on to our next step, which is to hand out flyers. And first, we have to tell people who we are and what the goal of our project is. Our flyers had an explanation of the upcoming Gemini meteor shower and a request for everyone to turn off their lights on the peak night. So we were getting together to go from one school, neighborhood to another to hand out flyers. Oh, okay, so they're doing it as a team, as a group. We decided people would be more at ease taking flyers from students in the local school uniform, but mixing in others would draw more attention.
12月14日、大流星群の夜は電気を消そう。何なんだよこれ。
光貝って言葉をご存知ですか？ここを見てください。
Okay. So Mikazuki Station was not a very large one, but that made us a rare sight. It was causing more people to stop and talk to us. We would show them the figures and illustrations on our flyer and politely explain what our goal is.
なるほどね。そういえば、昔に比べて星の数が少なくなった気がするね。
でしょ？双子座流星群の夜、一つでも多くの流星を見るために、皆さんに部屋の明かりを消してほしいんです。どうかご協力お願いします。
So Hikari had been speaking with, took a flyer and walked away.
ありがとうございます。ありがとうございます。思ったよりちゃんと話を聞いてもらえてるね。そうですね。知らない人に声をかけるのはちょっとドキドキしますけど。吉岡ちゃん、しっかり明るく朗らかに。ほら、こうでしょうか。
So you gotta smile more, says Honoka. So let's do what Hikari said. Kind of went a little fast on this.
吉岡ちゃん、しっかり明るく朗らかに。ほら、笑って笑って。
Okay.
笑顔が硬い。
But you're not smiling. Hey, so everyone. So as I approached, Hikari quickly moves away from me and hides behind Saya. Well, I got permission to set out some flyers at the store.
本当ですか。助かります。
So I don't know how much it will help, but a lot of people in the area use our store. So I'm sure if we put it there, almost everybody will see it. It was a small town, and there are not many stores, so ours was open from early morning until late, so many people in the area used it. So we even had a cafe owner, which meant a lot of middle-aged and older folks would stop by in the afternoon, and it would be a good exposure. Okay. So the store manager knows about other business owners who said they would put theirs up as well, and I even got permission to hang one at the station.
ではそろそろ移動しましょうか。
Okay, so let's move to somewhere else.
少し休憩してからにしませんか?
Break? Judging from Toyota's voice, he sounded exhausted. So our next stop is the shopping district near Meikou Academy, but Toyota and the others' first years were not used to this kind of work and were clearly tired.
そうですね。少し早いですが、お昼にしましょうか。
So how about lunch then? Well, in that case, you're welcome to use the store's eating area. So not everyone had brought their own lunches with them. And that meant that they would buy something at the store, so using the seats would not be a problem. Well, that's true.
ではお昼休憩にしましょう。
So as soon as Honoka was finished speaking, Hikari disappeared off into the opposite direction to avoid me. So while the project is going well, it looks like the relationship is still not going well. And I wonder if anybody else noticed it. So I decided to stay outside and was sipping on some milk coffee myself. Well, this hurts. So Hikari is avoiding me at every turn. And I'm hoping to get the chance to approach her again today, but it seems like Hikari is getting wise to my methods. So she knows how to successfully avoid Akito. And I would have to start switching things up a bit. So I have to find some new strategy to help or to go after Hikari. So recently, it might have seemed more like I was trying to shock her rather than trying to confess to her. That's kind of true. Well, I guess this was pretty embarrassing. And when it was to somebody you had thought of as a best friend for so long, it just made it that much more difficult. But I could not honestly express my feelings. She would never take me seriously.
アキト君、中に入らないの?
So Saya noticed me standing by myself and had come to check on me. Well, no. I must have not been able to keep the disappointment out of my voice.
光がいるから?
So Saya knows what's going on.
ねえ、光と何かあった?
So what happened? So it looks like you and Hikari are... So wait, why would you think that?
この間から光、アキト君のことを避けてるみたいだから。
So I can sense that she's avoiding you. And it looked like my secret was out. I'm sure for Saya she can sense that something isn't right. It was not a surprise though. Hikari is making it pretty obvious. Though she probably thought she was being smooth about it. Well, to tell you the truth, I confessed to her. And as I said this, I glanced over cautiously to see what Saya's reaction would be. But I figured she might get teary-eyed or flustered, but instead she just looked completely unfazed.
そうだったんだ。
So I understand. Wait, so you don't seem surprised. So are you upset?
だってあっくんが光のこと好きなの知ってたもん。
Well, I can sense that you like her, Akun. Wait, so how?
見てたらわかるよ。
she said that, like the entire world had already known. So had I really been that obvious?
光はなんて
So what's Hikari's response? So I pulled out my phone and tapped the screen a few times and showed it to her.
交際のご希望をいただいた件ですが、厳正なる審査の結果、落選とさせていただきました。
So, no. I reject your proposal or your confession.
この度はご縁がなかったということで、誠に申し訳ございませんが、お断り申し上げます。ケーグ。ケーグって。
So I received the message from the day after my first confession. It was rather confusing. I could not get why it sounded like I lost a election. So she probably thought too much about it and rewritten her response over and over so many times that it had turned into something strange. So Saya knelt down to pet Kotarou as she said this to herself. So Kotarou looks content, lounging in the sun. And I said it again. Well, I like Hikari, but that means that we can't, Wait, so you seem awfully calm about this.
だってずっと前から気づいてたから。
Wait, so was it really that obvious? I only myself realized how I felt about her after she moved back to Japan. But Saya made it sound like she's known for even longer than this.
どうだったかな。
Well? Wait, so why is she teasing me all of a sudden?
悲しくないわけじゃないけど、ずいぶん時間があったから、気持ちの整理はだいたいついてるつもり。それに私、あっくんと同じくらい、光のことも好きだもん。
Well, I'm sure Saya likes Hikari as a best friend, but on a much deeper scale for Akito.
光とあっくん、お似合いだと思うよ。
Well, thanks, though she still rejected me. A total of 4 times, in fact. So Saya lets out a sigh.
光にも困ったものね。あんた、いつまでも子供なんだから。
But then again, Hikari is still like a child, though. So Saya stops petting Kotarou and stands up.
はい、これお弁当。あきとくんの分だよ。
So are you sure it's okay?
作ってくれたのお母さんだもん。でも、もうあんまりこういうことしない方がいいのかな。
Well, I don't know what to say to that, so I just remain silent. And I wonder if I could have said something more comforting had I been an adult with more experience dealing with things like love. So Saya reacts to my speechlessness by letting out a small chuckle.
はあ、やっぱり私、男の子に生まれたかったな。
So Saya actually sounded a little relieved as she said this, and then she turns and heads back inside with the others. Well, I gratefully began shoveling the lunch Saya's mom had made for me into my empty stomach. So Saya's mom's eggs are always good. So I like how Saya's like, well, I understand, and I can sense it, so I'm okay if you go with Hikari, and plus, I really do think that you're a fit for Hikari. But we haven't really heard about how Hikari feels and what's her reasoning. But anyways, we're back at Meikou Academy, and what's going on here? So we could really use your help to make a Project Starlight a success.
お願いします。
Also, they're going to other schools to continue their promotion of Project Starlight. So after lunch, we moved from the shopping district, or we moved to the shopping district near Meikou Academy to hand out flyers. And moved a few times to areas with the most people before finally heading off to school. So just like Mikazuki Station, it seems like people are interested in a group of students from a mix of schools we're doing together. And though coming to the school on a weekend meant that only the students who had club activities were here, it was a little disappointing.
学校で配るなら別の日にした方が良かったですね。
And it seemed like an obvious oversight once we were there. So we chosen our day off because it was easier for everyone to meet, but it seemed like we had not thought it all the way through. And it seemed like an obvious mistake in retrospect, but it was our first time doing this, so other oversights were bound to occur as well. So let's come back to hand out flyers at school on a weekday.
はい。
So once it started getting later, however, the number of students heading home from club activities begins to increase. And we started handing out more flyers than expected, or handing out.
天文部です。よろしくお願いします。します。
Okay, so we're almost out of flyers.
それなら今、ひかりさんがプリントしに行ってくれてます。
Don't worry, we'll have more. I didn't even realize that she was gone until Honoka said something.
なんだかスラミ君を避けているようでしたが、喧嘩でもしたんですか？
And now Honoka can sense that something isn't right. It's like, well, I can sense that she's avoiding you. No, it's nothing like that. Well, I'm sorry. And it seemed like the others were worried about us. Well, I felt bad, so I started working even harder at passing out flyers.
なんなのよあいつ。油断するとすぐ好きだとか言い始めるし、気を抜く暇もないわ。
So now being alone, Hikari is able to express her inner thoughts. Like, well, why is he following me still?
おかげで肩が凝っちゃって。光。なんだ、さやか。びっくりした。
So wait, it was just you, Saya, so
私も手伝うよ。
can I help you?
ありがとう。でももう終わるし。ねえ。あきとくんのこと避けてる？何のことかな。
So wait, what are you talking about? Well, you're trying to hide something, I know.
気のせいよ。そんなわけないじゃん。やだな。
Well, that's an obvious lie.
私のことはいいから。さやはアキトんとこ行っといでよ。どうして？もっと猛烈アピールしまくらないと。あいつ奥手だからさ。
And once again, Hikari's still kind of pushing Saya.
ちょっと大胆なくらいがいいと思うよ。ほら、キスした時に私もアシストをするからさ。そういうのいらないかな。
Well, I'll pass on all that.
なんでよ。
Why?
だってアキトくんが好きなのは別の人だもん。そんなことはあるよ。だってアキトくんが言ってたから。告白されたんでしょ？そんな顔しないでよ。私ずっと前から知ってたから、あっくんの気持ち。 違うの。それはあいつが勘違いしてるだけで。っていうか、さやが可愛すぎるからビビってんのよ。多分気にすることないからね。そういう光はどうなの？私？あっくんのことどう思ってるの？
So, how do you feel about Akun?
どうも何もきっぱり断ってやったわよ。
Nothing. I just said no and it's over.
私に気を使ってるんじゃなくて？
Well, is it because of me?
違う。アキトはただの友達。いいやつだとは思うよ。だよね。ぶっきらぼうだけど優しいし。ちょっと子供っぽいとこあるけど、そこが可愛かったりするし。そうそう。
Okay.
ご飯の差し入れとかすると本当に美味しそうに食べてくれるんだよ。いいよね、そういうとこ。それから星を見てる時の横顔が素敵なんだ。ワクワクしててザ少年の目って感じがする。わかる、いいよね、あの目。いや、今のはただの一般論で、きっとさやはあいつのそういうところを好きになったんだろうなって話で。ねえひかり、昔私がアキトくんのことを好きになっちゃった時、相談に乗ってくれたよね。
It's like, well, aren't those the same words that you told me?
あの時のお返しがしたいの。もしひかりもアキトくんのこと好きなんだったら、ひかりの恋を応援したい。恋って、何その恥ずかしいワード。私には似合わないから。どうして？ひかり可愛いよ。もうさやに言われたって嫌味でしかないの。あんたみたいにおしとやかじゃないし、可愛くないし。
Okay. So it's like, well, I don't think I can be anywhere like you. You're better in every respect. You're sweeter. You are more beautiful, and I'm sure you can talk, or you're a better fit for Akito than I am.
っていうか、私のことはいいから、あんたが頑張りなさい。ほら、とっととアキトんとこ行って、あいつの目を覚まさせてやって。そう。じゃあいいわ。なんで怒るの？別に怒ってなんてないわ、ほうき星さん。
Well, I'm not mad, Hokiboshi-san.
名字で呼んだ？ 6 年ぶりくらいに名字で呼ばれた。何でも話せる友達だって思ってたの。私だけだったんだね。やだ、怒んないでよ、天の川さん。名字で呼んだ。自分が先に呼んだんでしょ。もう光なんて知らない。それはこっちのセリフよ。シッシ、アキトんとこ行っちまえ。べーった。
Huh? So, unfortunately, it looks like the conversation didn't go at the end, and now it's led to a fight and a possible breakup between Saya and Hikari, now that they've resorted to calling themselves or each other last names, meaning that they're strangers rather than friends. So my phone went off, letting me know I had a new message, and I pulled it out and looked at the screen.
ちょっと来て。
So, it's from Saya. So this is a pretty blunt message for Saya. And the message is only 2 words long, but I could still tell that Saya wasn't happy about something. And the last I knew, she was on her way to find Hikari and lend her a hand. Okay, well, I'll be right back, you girls.
はい。
So, Karuna, can you take the rest of my flyers? So hand these out.
わかった。
Well, I had a really bad feeling as I made my way to the school building. So I wonder what happened. I don't know what to expect as I head towards the astronomy club room. And being a weekend, there was not a soul anywhere in sight. And the sun is getting low in the sky and was casting a long, deep shadow across the hallways. As I approach the room, Hikari appears from the doorway.
出た。
So wait, what are you doing here? Or it's you. From the moment she saw me, it was as if she entered a state ready for a battle. Hey, so do you know where Saya is?
天の川さんなら。
If you're looking for Amanogawa-san... Wait, Amanogawa, so what got you to call her like that?
あ、秋人くん。
Saya comes out of the room behind Hikari. So she rushes over to me and pauses just long enough to whisper something so only I could hear.
ちょっとだけ我慢しててね。
Huh?
疲れちゃったよ。
So Saya's voice suddenly sounded soft and sweet as she threw her arms around me. Wait, what? Hey, Saya, so what are you doing?
今日はいっぱい歩いて疲れちゃったから、ちょっと休ませて。
Squeeze. So as she continued to cling onto me, she began to lean her full body weight onto me. I had no choice but to grab her to keep her from falling. And my nose was suddenly tilted with her scent. It was probably the shampoo that she used. So I think what Saya's doing is that she's trying to get Hikari all worked up to try to trigger her. It's like, well, if you really like Akito, then we'll see how you react when I get close to him. And pretty much take him away. And if you really do love him, then you'll be all upset and... I'm not sure if Hikari's going to fight back or she's just going to... Well, that's how it is. I'm just going to let them be and I'll just go on and forget that this ever happened. Wait, this is... Saya? So what are you doing? I began to protest in a soft voice as Saya began to sway, her arms still wrapped around me. So wait, what's going on? So had my confession to Hikari sparked some last flame of jealousy?
秋人くん、じっとしてて。
So just go along with the flow. But Hikari's looking at me like she's going to kill me. Well, I'm sure it's like, well, she won't kill you.
そう。なら成功ね。
There you go. It's like, well, if she's all angry, then that means it's working.
光が素直になるよ。手伝ってあげる。
Now I understand what she was doing. This seemed like a bad way of going about it, though. So Hikari glared at me as she walked by without a word. Wait, Hikari?
邪魔しちゃ悪いから先に行くわ。じゃあね、天の川さん、空見くん。
Wait, so she called me by my last name, so Sorami-kun. So she hadn't used that name in 6 years. Hikari sped off down the hall and out of sight. So that was a failure.
ごめん。本当に光とのこと手伝ってあげようと思ったの。
Well, I appreciate the sentiment, but I think I should figure this one out on my own. So it seemed that my two child friends were both catastrophically terrible at helping others with matters of love. Well, I'm sure it's hard for many people. So Hikari had stormed off, clearly angry. And it wasn't an ideal situation, but if Hikari's reaction has been due to jealousy, then that was actually a good thing for me. And Hikari's pretty good at hiding her jealousy. While I couldn't be certain she was not plain angry, though.
もう暗くなりますし、そろそろ解散しましょうか。
I agree.
皆さん、本日はお疲れ様でした。双子座流星群までまだ余裕があります。地道に頑張っていきましょう。
お疲れ様でした。
Okay.
お疲れ様でした。
お疲れ様です。お疲れ様でした。
So everyone would be splitting up and heading in different directions from here. And it would be faster for everyone from Moromisawa and Nishihai to use a different station than Mikazuki.
私、別のバスで帰るね。
Okay, so for me, I had to take another bus now. Saya seemed a little down as she said this. She made her way to the bus station in the opposite direction of mine. So I decided it would be a bad idea to make eye contact with Hikari just then. Well, is she going to be alright?
ひなみん、ちょっとだけ待っててもらっていい？部室寄ってから帰るから。いいよ。
It sounded like it would be a little while before Hinami and Karuna headed home. So that leaves Hikari as the only person heading to the same bus stop as me. So Hikari sets off towards the bus stop at a brisk pace, pretending I was not even there. I want to explain what happened inside, but I don't think she is going to let me. Instead, I decide to let her anger subside a little. I follow after her, but left plenty of space between us. So it's kind of interesting that there's this perfect bus opportunity for them to be alone. So the other people riding different buses, including Saya, and Karuna and Hinami staying behind to finish some work. So the bus is nearly empty, and I took a seat in the very, very back. And Hikari sat a few seats ahead of me and made a point of not looking in my direction. So just pretend that there's no Akito Surami on the bus. So she's pretty upset. And it wasn't that uncommon for her and Saya to get into fights over silly little things. And before long, they were usually back to normal as if nothing had happened in the first place. I figured it was best to just leave it alone. So right now, I was more worried about her being angry with me. Okay, so he wants to try to talk to Hikari via line or some messaging app. So, can you give me a chance to explain? Hikari must have felt her phone vibrate because she took it out to check it. Oh, so it's him. She looks at it for a couple of seconds, thinking before she shoved it back into her pocket. So, ignore. And it seemed like I would need to wait for a better time to try and explain everything. If I kept on pushing, it might just make things worse. It was probably best to just give up for today and reflect on the day's event by myself. And the bus headed for the old Mikazuka village, driving along at a leisurely pace. And before I realized it, my eyes grew heavy and I must have fallen asleep. So I think he missed the stop, if I'm correct? So handing out flyers all day must have been tiring. So I guess the emotions of the bus were just too much and I lost to a wave of drowsiness. And I felt something move next to me. Well, somebody must have sat down next to me after I had nodded off. I considered scooting over a bit, but I was still half asleep, and the thought of moving was too much of a hassle.
私のこと好きって言ったくせに。
I'm sure we know who is sitting next to Akito. Huh?
さやに抱きつかれてデレデレしちゃってさ。
I was suddenly wide awake. Okay, so now Akito realizes who is next to him on the bus. So now that my brain is working, it seems odd that somebody I did not know would sit down next to me on a bus that is virtually empty. I opened my eyes just a hair and saw an Amahai skirt and long hair tied back in a ponytail. Hikari is sitting next to me. So wait, what is she doing?
私に告白しといて。やっぱりさやの方がいいんじゃない。デレデレしたアホ面を思い出すと、また腹立ってきた。
Huh? Something soft is pressed against my arm. Wait, so is Hikari locking arms with me? It seems like Hikari had slipped her arm through mine and was clinging onto it. So whatever was pressing against my arm was so incredibly soft that it actually made the uncomfortable seat cushion feel even harder. So he knows that it's Hikari, and I'm sure it's like, well, why would she be next to him, even though she was saying all these negative words at Akito earlier and running away from him? But I could not tell what is happening. And I'm still pretending to be asleep.
さやも何勘違いしてるんだか。私別にこいつのことなんとも思ってないもん。こうしてても。
Hikari leaned over and whispered, so tickling my ear with her breath. She leaned in closer, pressing further up against me. Wait, so the soft feeling against my arm became a bit firmer and I could feel Hikari's heartbeat. It was racing a mile a minute. So Hikari staring intently at my face. Wait, so has she realized that I'm faking my sleep? So I'm awake but just secretly giving the impression that I'm still asleep. Okay, I'm asleep. So she continues staring at my face, clearly suspicious. So she begins poking my face and the bridge of my nose begins to itch. I was trying really hard to resist the urge to scratch it. If she realized that I was awake, there was no doubt the perfect moment would come to an end. Well, not only she was touching my face, but her arms was interlocked with me, and I wanted to make this last as long as possible.
なんで私に告白なんてするのよ。あんたはさやの好きな男の子なのよ。なのに私に告白されたって困るだけだっての。ねえ、ちょっと聞いてるの？
Wait, so are you listening to everything that I'm saying? Okay, I'm asleep still, so.
もし本当に聞
Well, this is bad. Okay, I'll just keep pretending I'm sleeping. And he moves around a little bit. I suddenly choked on my breath and sat bolt upright in my seat. So my body reacted instinctively to a tickle on my side, and when my eyes were wide open, they met Hikari's. Uh-oh. But then again, it can be interpreted as Hikari waking him up. Like, she just nudged him, tickled him, and that got him up. So Hikari is suddenly completely speechless. And her face begins to grow bright red. Wait, so you were awake the whole time? She begins to tremble. She's probably in shock, seeing as how our arms are still interlocked together. So Hikari tries to stand up and get away, but I grabbed her arm and stopped her. Well, there's no way I'm going to let her go just yet. Wait, I just woke up, so I didn't even hear that much. So you just woke me up. So what did you hear? Something about me being all over Saya even though I liked you. I still liked you. Well, I'm sure if Akito wanted to give a better response, he should give one after he stood up right, not what Hikari was saying while he's trying to be asleep. Well, I understand how you feel, so just please calm down. And as I was trying to calm Hikari down, I looked around and realized that we were the only ones on the bus. Okay, that was a relief. So at least we didn't create an embarrassing scene for other people to see. So just let me apologize for earlier. So I'm sorry for how I may have looked when Saya grabbed me. Well, how many times do I have to tell you? So Saya is not the one I like. But what about that kiss from the divergence route? Wait, so what are you? Sight or 8? I was still holding my Hikari's arm, so I pulled her towards me. And without anything to support herself, she fell towards me. I caught her in my arms and whispered into her ear. Fine then, Hikari, so this will be the last time. I'm not going to say this again, so listen very carefully. Well, I'm not looking around. Okay, so I'm not joking when I say this, but I truly do like you, Hikari. And with that, my final confession, I lowered my head and kissed her. And for an instant, Hikari tried to get away, but in a current position, all she could do was try and sit up. And then pushed her, and that just pushed her further into my kiss. And thanks to that, I was able to fully savor the feeling of her lips on mine. Ooh, so they are incredibly soft. And I pressed my hand into her back and held her loosely as I pressed my lips harder against hers. So I felt Hikari's body slowly begin to relax. And her eyes had gone wide in shock at first, but her eyelids slowly dropped. She looked as if she were in a dream. was already in that dream. And kissing the girl I liked, I was lost in feeling of euphoria. And the feeling I got from her lips on mine was completely bliss. And the weight of her body against mine felt good too. And I continued to hold her, stroking her long hair that fell down her back. I was thoroughly enjoying our kiss. So I finally come to my senses and realized that our eyes were locked at point-blank range. She was staring up at me, questioning look on her face. And thinking about it, I realized that I had kissed her immediately after confessing. And that meant I never given her chance to respond. Well, I still didn't want to end the kiss, however. And if I could have, I would have stayed like this all the way until our bus reached our stop. So I could not have any regrets. I gave Hikari one last squeeze and pressed my lips harder against hers before slowly releasing our kiss. So how's this? So our faces were still close enough that our noses almost touched. Hikari had a distant look on her face. Her eyes were damp and sparkled in the light. They were so beautiful. Her lips are still slightly parted. They almost seemed to be sad that the kiss is over. They looked cute. Well, I guess this means we have to get married now then. And I waited for Hikari to respond. I mustered all the courage in for me this last confession, and I hoped it had finally been enough. So, let's see. Wait, what? So something skin-covered flashed in the cover of my eye, and the next thing I knew, the world was spinning and my chest stung completely fierce. So it looks like Hikari gave Akito a slap, and the force of the blow had thrown me back against the window of the bus. And I think Akito's head hit the stop requested switch. Oh, so Hikari is pressing the stop requested switch. So the bus is just pulling up to Mikazuki Station. Hikari storms off the bus in a violent rage. And this was also my stop too, so I needed to get off, but I'm dizzy. And the slap Hikari had given me must have rattled my brain because I could not see straight. But the bus driver didn't care about me, so it just pulled out of the station and kept on going. So the weekend had ended, and it was now Monday, or it is now Monday morning. Okay, so this is a good place to stop for this episode. So it looks like we're starting to see some more thoughts about Hikari. And even though she does have some hint of liking Akito, she feels that, well, he's a better fit for Saya because they kissed initially. And Saya's more beautiful. Saya's this really special person versus her. And she feels that Akito likes Saya better than her. And that's why she's been really hesitant at going with Akito, and she feels that, well, everything that he says about he likes me is a lie. But going to Project Starlight, it looks like things are going well. There isn't really much to say, and I'm not really sure what the details about Project Starlight is, and what are they going to do in this project. So, I do know that their main purpose is to try to get more people interested in astronomy and get more people to hopefully join and keep the Six Stars Club going. So even though Orihime has graduated, that doesn't mean that the club should come to an end. But anyways, we gotta work on the romance first. And with that in mind, I'll see you in the next episode.